Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Driving high will get you a DUI. And if you're wondering if law enforcement can tell you're driving high, well, everyone else can. Friends?
I can tell you drove high.
Parents?
I can tell when you drive high.
Relatives?
I can tell. You drove here high, didn't you?
So what makes you think law enforcement can't?
I can tell.
If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Bleav, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a ULM fan, but this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeaux and Chase Regian.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Tibbs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, for once, it's not just chaos on the Bayou. It's chaos in all of college football with nobody wanting to play in bowl games, 2 G6 teams in the postseason playoff. I love it.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. I was going to say that I thought you were going to start this off by saying we don't have to talk about football. And I was going to say, dang, is it baseball season yet? Do we have to talk about that yet?
We're a soccer school now and women's golf.
And I'm for it. We're a women's sports school, and I'm for it.
We did get formally new athletic director since the last time we dropped an episode together there, Chase. SJ Tui. And man, his introductory press conference, he was shot out of a cannon.
I had texted this, Tibbs. Pains of a young hire. Hopefully, someone in circles like, hey, let's put you in some training here a little bit. But I am excited about the hire.
I liked it because a lot of times that's how my presentations go, where my ADD just overloads and there's not enough Ritalin in the world to keep me focused.
You think that's what happened to the guy? I don't know. It's tough, but hey, it's he's 32, Tibbs. He's gonna have some moments like this where hopefully this is a place where he can excel and grow. I'm giving him that grace.
No doubt. I mean, I'd give just about anybody except for a small Napoleonic president a chance.
100%. I'm 100% with you. Absolutely.
So with it being out there now, what do you feel is maybe his first order of business that he has to really take care of?
Oh, man, I try to, if you think about it, it's not like he has to come in okay, think about how Hartwell had to come in. And unfortunately, he had to make a lot of really hard decisions. I mean, they were hard decisions at the time, but you kind of had to fire some people. You had to let some coaches go. Well, I don't think SJ's in that position. And I think he's the right hire for the right time in the sense of it seems like we have some solid coaches or at least new coaches, and you need to see what happens. And he needs to start the fundraising path. It's his background, it's his resume, and developing it in a true cohesive NIL collective and working on, these corporations and sponsorships that most universities have, and we're just behind the times on. So I think using his experience in that way of fundraising is going to be incredibly impactful for ULM.
No doubt money solves a lot of the issues. And while I don't think that that's the 110% fix at ULM, it's a great start. Mm-hmm. And I think, though, he has to kind of take that step back initially and just kind of make sure everything that needed to have been done in 2025, while it was BV and his multi hats that he was wearing, make sure everything was done right. Make sure that he is actually inheriting this clean slate like he kind of is. But I agree. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of movement that we got to do for coaching. You know, we had the scare that maybe Will Roberts was going to leave after that great successful run there in women's soccer. But he's back from all intents and purposes that I've heard. And so game on. Let's see what we can do to make sure basketball has the resources to contend, and definitely make sure Molly and Ford are ready to roll in the spring.
100%. And, you know, that's a lot better of a place than we were. When did Hartwell get hired? 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
23. He was only on job like 2.5 years.
What's that math? 2 years? Dang, dude. It's a short time to be an AD somewhere. But he still made a lot of progress in the foundational things, and I think hopefully SJ can recognize that and build upon that, because we aren't, you know, okay, football didn't go where we wanted. Men's basketball hasn't really, you know, started off the way we wanted. But, you know, you've got some new energy there. And I think a young guy was a great hire. Not that I think age really matters in this world, but I think just having somebody hungry, giving them a shot and seeing how they do, you know, can hopefully really lead to some success here.
No doubt. I'm anxious to see what he can do. Chase, we're working to get him on the show. If we get him, just make sure you dress up.
No. Oh, because the last time we interviewed AD, I wore a tank top. I forget about that. No, I'm going to wear a hoodie and look. You know, we're a non-video podcast, so I'm going to look just like I do today with a hoodie.
We're starting video, Chase.
No, well, I mean, I'm down, but let me clean up my background a little bit.
We also had National Signing Day, and the Warhawks welcomed in 20 new prospects, only like 5 out of the high school ranks, so very heavy on the JUCO ranks. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel that that's kind of the right move there that BV needed to do, was to go JUCO heavy, or is this just a let's hurry up and just win?
Initially, I was taken aback a little bit. I think that, you know, with these signings, that it's advantageous to do what I think BV can do well, which is develop young talent, and whether you keep it for a year or two or not, kind of, you know, Ahmad Hardy, Wyatt Williams, kind of people. But I like it, Tibbs. I mean, the more I listened to his press conference, he was pretty honest. He was like, yeah, I mean, we need depth, and getting experienced depth in today's world for a school like ULM needs to go through, in my opinion, through JUCO. And so, you know, he had said like, hey, I'm not going to not take high schoolers, but we need people that can maybe come in and play depth pieces or compete for starting jobs. And you lose, you know, some really good offensive linemen there. You got to replace that. He did that through JUCO. And so, you know, I really like the quarterback hire. The more I looked into him, or the quarterback signing, the more I looked into him, kid's a dog. So I think it's just not unfortunately. I just think if we're going to adopt the idea that we can be a 1 or 2 year type of place for some people, like what Deshaun Ford said last year, I think JUCO's a great route to continue to build depth on a roster, because I don't really know how much you can do that through high school nowadays.
I feel like everyone's a JUCO now, at least in the G6. Everyone's a JUCO, because as soon as you have that guy that has that breakout season, somebody's going to throw that money bag at him, and he's going to go to the P4. Maybe even a lateral move in some cases to another G6 school. So for all intents and purposes, we're all junior colleges now, where we're only going to have a guy 1, maybe 2 years at most.
Is this the most, in your time, is this the most like JUCO versus high school you've seen?
Very much so. I think Weatherby had 1 year of pretty heavy JUCO. When I say heavy, I think it was maybe 10 out of the 25 that he signed were JUCO. And quite honestly, I don't remember any of them really sticking and being of significance. They all just kind of floundered out. But that was the old JUCO.
Yeah, well, that was Weatherby in the 1910s. But you
They
know,
had leather helmets.
Todd Berry was big on like, you know, like I don't think this plays as much anymore, but Todd was big on like, hey, we're going to develop talent. We're going to get, you know, kids in high school that have played big time high school football, and that's why I had so many kids from Texas. Just putting that one out there. And so, you know, I don't know. I think it was. I know he got some guys from Monroe, 2 of them, right? 2 or 3 of them. Am I wrong by that? Neville kid and a. I hope so.
Only one official signee, and that being Van Martinez, the offensive lineman for Neville.
That's right.
Christian Pawnee is a PWO out of West Monroe, fullback, running back. He'll be a good player.
I've
he'll
heard
definitely
he's
see
a
the field
Scattaboo guy.
carries.
I've heard he can just run through a brick wall, so I'm excited to see what he can do there. But you know, I don't know, Tibbs. It just is, as we see this Wild Wild West evolve, I think it's important to try to build that depth like he has. He really emphasized offensive line here and depth there and depth on defensive line. And he had said, like, I think we can be the best D-line in the conference next year. And, you know, I think he's got some great building blocks if he can keep these players. And I don't know about you, but I really haven't seen huge people transfer portal besides Hunter Herring. Anything that I don't know about there with the portal?
Harris, defensive back, has jumped on board. A couple other guys, but nobody on the level of like a Ahmad Hardy or, you know, someone like that, that's going through. I think Hunter Herring hurts, but if you look at the bigger picture of things, he didn't really play this past year because there was no real place for him. He was a very niche player. I think that was a missed opportunity that we should have used him a little bit more with some receiver or some decoy routes, not just kind of the tush push or that fourth and short package in there. Missed opportunities, but it is what it is. He's going to go off to greener pastures as long as he doesn't go anywhere in the conference. Best of wishes to you.
Yeah, just don't go back down south, which is where we got him from. But
or
I think
20.
Hunter or at 20. Oh, man, I got to think about that nowadays. Usually I don't care about that. Yeah, I think Hunter does hurt. I think he was a great athlete. I think I won't say he was mismanaged. I don't believe that. I think they kind of tried to manage him the way they best saw fit, which was kind of that Taysom Hill type. You know, unfortunately, he dealt a lot with injuries, and I thought he was a senior, Tibbs. I didn't know he had another year left of eligibility. But I mean, beyond that, I know you graduate some integral pieces, but as long as, you know, I'm sold back on Aid Armenta after Lafayette, 300 yards. I mean, I'm like, hey, maybe he is the guy, and maybe that play calling just needed to change, and now it's his way. But back to the signing day conversation, I really, really liked. You're not going to know too much about these JUCO kids until they show up, and you kind of see them in spring, and we'll keep an eye on them and see how they're playing and look at the rosters keeps going. But I do like, you know, a lot of people forget we got 32 seniors next year, and adding depth to that experience is going to make a big difference.
And I think that BV said somewhere along the line that there were about 19 slots available for the spring. I believe was the final number. So we're not done. I mean, we're halfway there, but we're definitely not done. Anxious to see what this spring looks like, because I think it'll be where this class really gets a little bit better, a little bit stronger, and we'll see. There's grumblings of a place kicker that can possibly punt as well coming in, which I like to push Mackenzie Ryan a little bit further along. Having somebody to back up Max Larson, provided he does come back. For all intents and purposes, I haven't heard where he's joined the portal, but he may just want to walk away from football. It's exciting to have all these options.
100%. And you know, I know there's been a little bit of internet grumblings about BV and, you know, his future. And yeah, I never, when I'm thinking through and reflecting on these situations like signing day, like even the way the season went, I still think he's the right guy. He's the right guy in the right seat, and he's got a good staff around him. And, we can make the critiques all we want about offensive coordinator and yada, yada, and we'll just have to see what happens there. But him as a recruiter and him as a developer of talent, being able to get a lot of these guys in the spring and having that time with them, 20 of them makes a big difference. Well, not all 20, but I think 1 or 2 of the high school kids are early grads.
I think everybody will be on campus in January.
Huge. That's huge. Spring makes such a big difference development of a player.
And kind of going back to what we talked about when we were kind of introducing SJ Tui coming in, it's all about money, Chase. I know for a fact at least 3 additional defensive prospects that were in love with BV, in love with the program, in love with Monroe. They got that bag and went somewhere else. And so that's where it really hurts, is that at least one of those guys went to another conference foe member. So now you got to face the guy and he's going to have a little bit of motivation. But B, that team just got a little bit better. So your goal of winning the division, winning the conference, trying to get to a bowl game, you now got to see that guy for the next few years standing in the way of your goals.
Yeah, it gets a little harder. But at the same time, I mean, you don't know. That culminating over a lot of players over a lot of period of time, sure, it sucks, but you never know how it happens individually. But 100%, you've got to start, if SJ, and I think everybody expects him to kind of create this foundation collective that's structured and that has, is a compliant and, all those things. And he's got to, in my opinion, create some partnerships that unfortunately you saw be so fruitful for Lafayette in the way that their stadium looks now. And to do some things like that and kind of make a splash. And I think that happens in 2 ways. That's facilities and NIL in today's world of football.
Here's my smart ass answer to that, Chase, implying that, they have Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium in Lafayette. As many injuries as ULM football had this year, St. Francis should definitely be sponsoring that stadium of Malone.
Well, they sponsor the field now.
That was a bad paint job, by the way.
They redid it, but I agree. We both walked up there and was like, what the hell is this? If I'm St. Francis, I'm pissed. But they redid it, and it looks nice. But yeah.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan. The NBA on Prime crew is back, and the quest for the Emirates NBA Cup is center court once again. Group play is over. Now the remaining 8 teams do battle in the knockout rounds, and Prime is your exclusive home for all the action. It all starts with the quarterfinals. 2 consecutive nights of can't-miss doubleheaders this Tuesday and Wednesday night. Win, and you move on to the semifinals. Lose, and your quest for the cup is over. The stakes are high, and the intensity will be even higher. It's back-to-back nights of doubleheaders guaranteed to entertain. And if you're not a Prime member, that's not a problem. Sign up for a 30-day free trial to get started today. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details. The Emirates NBA Cup quarterfinals this Tuesday and Wednesday night, only on Prime.
All right, people, serious question time. Did you know that driving high is considered driving under the influence? That's right. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every state. That means even in states where marijuana is legal. That means driving high could get you a DUI. And if you think law enforcement officers can't tell when you're driving high, well, you're wrong. If you're high, they can tell. Your friends can tell. Your coworkers can tell. Even your parents can tell. Everyone can tell. So what makes you think that law enforcement officers don't know when you're driving high? You'd be wrong. They can tell too. Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your response time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive when you're high, you're not. Because the bottom line is, if you feel different, you drive different, and driving high is driving under the influence. So remember, drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that'll change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Chase, more important than anything of recruiting, football. Yes, I'm putting it even over football right now. You know why? Because it will start before the next season.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is that?
Volleyball, man. It's volleyball talk with head coach Reid Gann joining us. Coach, welcome into the show.
Man, I appreciate it, guys. And this we just concluded year one of our journey here at ULM to turn this program around and build something that the Warhawk fan base and alumni can be proud of. And that's portal open today, so I've been busy all afternoon. And the joys of being a D1 coach this time of year.
So, Coach, on the surface, people are going to look at the record 10-20 and be like, it wasn't that great. That's the first double-digit win in at least 3-4 years for this program. First conference win, I think, since 2019. This was a big, successful year. Tell us from your standpoint how you saw this year kind of playing out.
Yeah, I agree. To the untrained eye, you look at 10-20, and that's not great. But coming in late like I did in March, obviously is already behind the 8 ball from a recruiting standpoint. A lot of the 2025 kids were already either far along with other schools or committed. So that presented a challenge right off the bat. But no, I think what we did this year, guys, we laid the foundation for the program. And like you mentioned, that is the first time ULM volleyball has gotten to double-digit wins since 2019. We were able to win a conference game. And I am proud of what we were able to accomplish in I think a tough situation. And we're not satisfied, but again, we laid the foundation and really looking forward to the program growing over time. And I came here to build. I think that's something that, attracted ULM to me was I do have a track record of building programs. At my previous school, I was able to start a volleyball program from nothing, from scratch, and build it into a winner. And that's what we're doing here.
You say you come in at kind of a hard time, so you're kind of scrambling to kind of put it all together, and that's not disrespectful to you, Coach. I'm just saying, it sounds like you had to scramble, but you get into this first year and you talk about rebuilding. What do you prioritize here? Are you prioritizing recruiting and the hell that the transfer portal is, I'm sure, for you? Do you work on, development? Kind of what's your strategy to get started?
Yeah, well, you're always evaluating your roster. I think, at the college level, recruiting is always at the forefront, getting the elite talent and mindset that you need to compete in a competitive Sun Belt conference. So we're, recruiting never stops. It's a 365 day a year deal. And you're always looking for players that can make your program better. And I think it starts with recruiting, and you want to be good player developers within your program, strength and conditioning wise, and that is something we're looking forward to doing this spring, is getting stronger and putting on some lean muscle, and developing the good kids that we do have in our program. And I think that's we want to put a complete athlete on the court, not only someone who possesses elite volleyball skill, but someone who's strong and flexible and fast, aggressive, all those attributes that you can work on during the off season as well.
You got a young roster, eight freshmen, 1 sophomore, 8 juniors. Is that a challenge that you have that young of a roster, or is that an advantage that, hey, I'm probably going to have these girls a little bit longer to kind of mold them into what I want them to be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it goes both ways. Probably a double-edged sword there, being a challenge and a blessing. But it's I think we do have some good young talent. Some kids that are really good for culture, and want to be there, and they're going to wear the ULM jersey with dignity and pride and represent the university in the right way. And again, we look forward to watching those young ladies grow over time, and continue that their game will develop in a positive direction. So yeah, that's a good question. I think it can go both ways. So,
Coach, I've always wondered this. Okay, and excuse my ignorance here. You're gonna teach me a little bit. How does recruiting work for volleyball? Are you looking at numbers? Are you looking at athletic ability? Are you looking at height? Are you looking at those kinds of things? Like when you go evaluate for your team, what are you looking at?
Well, I think you've got to identify what your needs are. Who are you graduating? If there's a talent deficiency in some areas, can you address that? I mean, I do think, height is important. If at this level, if you cannot block, things get really tough for you. I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, you can't coach height, right? And either you got it or you don't. But no, I think what are your needs, and what's the amount of talent, what's the best talent that you can bring into your program, not only physical talent, but demeanor and mindset, that competitive spirit that you're looking for. When you do as much homework on these, prospective student athletes as possible. And, again, I think, and in a lot of ways, talent, in my opinion, talent does beat experience. And then again, I'm not speaking for any other coach. I know I've heard some other coaches say that. I agree. I know I heard John Calipari say it a few years ago, that he would take talent over experience anytime. I would probably fall into that category.
Chase, I heard remnants of the dearly departed Martin there, where he talked about potential student athlete. That is a Martin term through and through.
Yeah, Martin got to coach before we got to him. The handler himself is still around.
You talking about Martin Radzovic?
The man, the myth, legend.
Yeah. I didn't get to know Martin long before he left, but he's a cool guy.
Some days. Other days, he made our job harder by getting the media word out too much.
Yeah. We couldn't be the breaking news anymore. Yeah, Martin would love to sit in these interviews, and he'd just come on screen sometimes and just put his hand to his throat and say, no. Yeah. He was lovely. I miss the guy.
Yeah. He was Martin's a unique guy. I liked him.
So, Coach, is it more challenging, though, knowing that North Louisiana is not really the volleyball mecca, the volleyball existence of the world? I think there might be 2 or 3 high schools that have volleyball. Does that make it a little bit more challenging?
Yeah, that's I didn't really realize that, coming into this. I had always heard some good things about, the high school and club volleyball scene in South Louisiana, but I didn't realize that it was really in the early stages here in North Louisiana. So yeah, absolutely, I think there's a challenge there. I mean, if you have some good local talent to recruit, that's always an advantage. Now, reality is Texas is not far away. We want to have a good recruiting presence in in Texas. They've been playing high level volleyball out there for a long time, and but I mean, I recruit nationwide, really worldwide. But to directly answer your question, yeah, it's that was kind of a surprise that it was not as prevalent here. But I know we do have a new club in town, and it does appear to be taken off a little compared to what it was. Sure.
Coach, I to switch gears here a little bit. When I had heard you got hired, and I had asked, "Where's he from?" and they said Blue Mountain Christian University. They said Blue Mountain University. I thought it was a joke because of Blue Mountain State. Have you ever seen the show?
I have never seen the show. I had signed a kid while I was at Blue Mountain, and she had released something on social media about Blue Mountain State, and I said, we may need to reach out to her and make sure she knows which Blue Mountain she's coming to. That's funny you bring that up, but I've never seen that, but I've heard heard it's pretty good.
Well, you're at Blue Mountain which is in Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Please excuse my ignorance. You're there for 5 years. You're there for a good amount of time. What kind of that time in your coaching career, how did that set you up for success when coaching a place like ULM?
Well, I think, again, I was able to build something there that was successful out of nothing. So I like that challenge, and it is a challenge.
Did you started that program there? Sorry.
I started that program from nothing.
Yeah.
So, it was a unique perspective to kind of be the new kid on the block and watch the program grow and, eventually, win 3 straight, conference tournaments and 3 straight national tournament bursts. So, and again, that's, how it prepared me for ULM. I think just from a work ethic standpoint, you just gotta show up every day with the mindset, I'm going to outwork my competition. I'm going to put more into recruiting. We're gonna run a program that, it functions at a higher level than our competition. We pay more attention to detail than our competition, and just know at the end of the day, just win each day. So, it's a unique opportunity, and this is my, opportunity for me to prove myself at the D1 level. And, I plan on, doing just that.
Coach, how did you get into this? Because you're a baseball guy. I mean, you played JUCO ball, then went to North Alabama. How did you make that switch from baseball to volleyball?
Yeah, that's another great question that I've gotten, off and on, throughout my career. So yeah, I played a little JUCO baseball. After my baseball career ended, I got into playing a little, recreational beach volleyball, sand volleyball. And, my first job out of college, I was asked to start a volleyball program at a small high school in Mississippi, actually where I graduated from, Belmont, and I was assistant baseball coach, and I fell in love with the sport, and just worked really hard at it, and the game's been good to me, and so actually how I got into it, to be honest, is kind of by default. In complete transparency. But
you were paid that extra $1,000 a year to coach the volleyball team.
Yeah, but you would be surprised how many coaches there are out there with similar stories. You'd be surprised. Even at the Division I level, that got into it that in different ways, and just fell in love with the game like I did, and decided that that's what they wanted to do for a living. So, but no, that's a very, very common question I get.
You mentioned beach. We have beach volleyball there at ULM. How much of that kind of translates between the indoor and the beach? And then do you swap players back and forth between the two teams?
Yeah. So right now it's 2 separate programs, and I would be open if we had a really good athlete that could help me on the indoor side and the beach. I would be open, for one doing both. I don't need a whole team doing both, to where during the spring I don't have anybody, in the gym But yeah, it's two separate programs, and she recruits her own roster. I recruit my own roster. But it will be interesting in the future, if we were to come across a special athlete that can, help both programs. I think, we would definitely be open to, letting her play both.
Have you reached out to good old Scotty Fletcher and say, hey, coach, you got some height. I got a conditioning program for him in the offseason and kind of work that roster that way.
Yeah. He's definitely got some height. Scotty's he's got a good roster and definitely gotten off to a good start, doing a good job. He's got some good athletes. So I don't know, if they've never played volleyball, man, it takes a while to develop that skill. That could be tough.
Oh, again, you can't coach height though, so you just put your hands up. You're good, just like you boxing out.
Yeah.
Don't oversimplify his sport, Tips.
Yeah, but it's funny you mentioned that. Blocking out, man. Hey, I like basketball. That's the thing about me. I like a lot of different sports. Blocking out, man. That's a trade you don't see as much anymore. That's seems like a lot of teams don't box out like they used to. I'm not saying that about Scotty's team. I know they do every time.
You hear that, Scotty? You hear what it's saying? He's saying you can't rebound.
No, Scotty, he's got a good thing going.
The thing we always ask people, Coach, you've been in Monroe a year though. What's the eats? What's the place that you got to go to whenever it's dinner time, lunchtime?
Yeah, so I like Traps down by the river, and I've been told there's some other places around the downtown area that I haven't hit up yet, but I definitely have given Traps quite a bit of business, probably too much. I like, I go, usually we take recruits to the field house a lot, right there by campus.
Smart man, smart man.
So yeah, it's hard to, but no, man, that's the food here, and that's something I say to recruits, man, is, what a unique state Louisiana is, and what a unique, food scene there is here and stuff like that. So it's great. Now, I'm not a picky eater. I'll eat anything. I just don't like olives. Anything else? I mean, any different type of food, man, I love it. So it's, but no, it's been great.
Coach, short, sweet, and painless. Greatly appreciate your time and you joining there with us. How can people support the program and do whatever's needed to get us to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a attendance standpoint for us and really all ULM sports, I mean, we need more fan support. We need more people in the stands. And in reality is, as we put a better product on the court and we get better and hopefully are competing at a high level someday, I'm confident that the people of Monroe and in this community, I mean, you got 50,000 people in Monroe. You've got another 20,000 in West Monroe. There's definitely potential to at least fill that lower bowl up there in Fenton Ewing Coliseum. And, really looking forward to watching that venue transform into a really special home court advantage.
Awesome stuff. Can't thank you enough there, Coach. Appreciate it. And we'll see you on the Bayou.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Go Warhawks.
There we go, Chase. Another sport that you got the intimate knowledge of.
I've always been interested about volleyball, man. I mean, when I was there, they were okay. 2014, they had a good season, and they were always, really nice people. But, it's a weird thing to be in a town that only has think about it, 20 people playing volleyball total. That's rough. I hate that for them.
We should start a field hockey team.
We should not. We should just start an academy for volleyball. We need to build an indoor sports complex. Wait, no, they already did that. Never mind.
They did do that.
Yeah.
I like volleyball. And you know why? It's because it usually is the one that kind of starts off the athletic calendar. It's your first kind of toe tip into how the season's going to be for everything, because that is where it all begins. And that's why I really like it.
Yeah, I've always played volleyball intramurally. We played beach a lot in high school and stuff. I really love the sport and always loved going out there and had the chance a few times to go work out with the beach volleyball athletes and then get murdered thinking I was good at volleyball till you do it against that level. Oh, and beach has been really good, where they were really good for a while. And then I don't know, I haven't paid attention to them forever, but I don't know about you, Tibbs. I knew they were separate, but I didn't know they were like completely separate. I always thought they had some crossover.
Yeah, that's pretty new that they did that. That it's completely separate, because for a while, and maybe it was a budgetary of sharing players, but it was separate. But from what Reid said, it's two different programs. That is men's, women's basketball type.
Yeah, whatever.
But I did notice also, because I was looking at the schedule for beach volleyball, everything's on the road except for their one weekend that they host a round robin tournament.
Really?
Everything's on the road.
That's wild. I didn't. Is beach is it now an NCAA sport and it was a club sport or something like that? Am I wrong by that?
Yeah. No, it's now a full NCAA sport. I forget when it was. It was added probably 10-ish years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here's your peek into beach volleyball. Playing at A&M Kingsville, at LSU,
all right,
at home for the ULM Bayou Bash,
which is a blast. People should go.
At Southern Miss,
okay,
at Mercer, at Georgia State, because nothing says beach like Georgia State.
Nothing says beach like Atlanta, yeah.
At A&M Corpus Christi, at UAB, at Tulane, and then the Sun Belt Conference Championship in Foley, Alabama.
And just everybody goes to that because you don't really play a Sun Belt schedule?
Yeah, I Bleav it's free for all.
Okay. So not crazy travel. Hardest part is Atlanta, 8 hours down the road.
Yeah.
Not too bad. But Reid was great, man. I really excited. I know it's a little hard to catch their games. I know Corey Crow calls them sometimes on the radio, and they're not really ESPN. I mean, every now and then ESPN Plus, right, for indoor? But not every
usually
game.
It's at least all the conference games.
Very cool. Very cool. Excited to see what he does. I mean, I know a lot of coaches say they got a rough job at ULM. You've heard that. But, man, that guy has a rough job at ULM of trying to basically recruit Texas and hope they come on.
But how exciting is it, though? I mean, his first year, and it was one of the best years that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, very cool. You're 100%. I mean, the exciting part is he gets to build it from the top, from the bottom up. So hopefully this year of recruiting, a full year of recruiting in that cycle will kind of propel him up a little bit.
Men's basketball, it was a split weekend, but more importantly, beat Mississippi Valley State. I told you to follow them on Twitter. Best game recap ever was MVSU lost, ULM won.
Okay. All right. I'm with it. It's a weird school. Unfortunately, was it the next night or a few days later they go to SFA?
Yeah.
Don't sleep on the guys in Nasty Knack, man.
Yeah, they axed them. Women on a 2-game losing streak, but it was only against Mississippi State and Alabama. Can't fault them for that. This is that kind of murderer's row, right? Next up is a trip to Indiana before starting conference play at Arkansas State, the defending conference champions, and then at Texas State.
And it was all supposed to start with Clemson. Thank God it got postponed because, I mean, that's Scotty had said, I don't remember what his answer to this was, Tibbs. He didn't schedule those, did he?
He did. He scheduled the Clemson game. He did not schedule Mississippi State, Alabama.
Well, it's just a tough conference late. Hey, I'm sure he's not backing out from that challenge. I'm excited to see. They need to strive for a little more consistency, of course, but I mean, they can be a little dangerous this year.
I think so. I think when they play on their level, and that's not to downplay the talent we have, but when they're playing a Sun Belt school, I have every bit of confidence that they will shine like there is no tomorrow and will not be the 14th team headed into Pensacola.
Let's hope so, and they get to figure that out against the reigning conference champions. I hate when I mess up words.
It happens.
It's embarrassing.
How's that English paper going?
It's not English, but it's going poorly. You want me to read it to you? It's great radio.
I would call me back in about an hour when I'm trying to fall asleep.
I got you.
Chase, that was great. Looking forward to our next episode later on this week. It'll be a huge guest. Maybe not in statue, but a huge guest.
Maybe a statue in the future.
Right next to mine, right?
You keep dreaming, bud.
Hey, I have a washroom.
We'll put you in the Hall of Fame. We'll get you in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame or Hall of Flame?
Hall of either or, right next to Corey Crow. You and Corey live there for eternity.
It's third down.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening. Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Bleav, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.